What should you use for your website hosting in 2024? There's a lot of good companies out there. There's certainly a lot of bad companies out there. I'm Cameron with Driven Media. We're going to break down some of the best and worst hosting options for your company website in today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video. It helps us out knowing that people are watching these videos so that we can keep publishing new content in the future, and we hope to be able to drive as much value for you as possible. So let's dive into it. There's a few companies that I want to start off with and just get them out of the way right from the very start. GoDaddy, Web.com, iPage, 000 Web Host. All these companies that I just listed off, avoid them for web hosting at all costs. Let me go through why. First of all, I mentioned GoDaddy number one. GoDaddy is expensive for what you are getting. It is extremely expensive. And usually you might think to yourself, well, if it's more expensive, it's probably a more premium product, right? Wrong. It certainly is not when it comes to GoDaddy. Typically, you're looking at a slower website load time than even cheaper hosting providers out there. In addition, they have a lot of things that they want you to subscribe to, other features. I know in the past they've made you pay for SSL. I think that's free now, but the fact that you had to pay for it for so long when so many other companies offered free SSL just kind of goes to show how scummy they really were in their web hosting operations. Now, in addition, my biggest complaint with them is their customer service. Their customer service, based on my experience, and keep in mind, I have worked with GoDaddy customer service a billion times over and over on behalf of clients. They are by far the most incompetent people on the planet when it comes to web hosting. I would not recommend them to my worst enemy, and I recommend that you stay away from them altogether. My worst horror story with GoDaddy was being on hold on both the internet-based web chat and my phone for 16 hours straight. I was on that phone till like 10 p.m. I started the call at 6 a.m. and I was there till like 10. Yeah, it was like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. It was a long day just waiting for them to get around to me. And it was one of those things, it was urgent. I was on the phone the entire day. I just had it sitting next to me while I was working on other stuff. I took other calls and everything, and I was still on hold with them the entire time. It was the most frustrating thing in the world. Finally, they eventually did get to me. We were able to get it resolved, but 16 hours, come on now. Now, another one that I mentioned, Web.com, I'm just not a huge fan of. They're owned by previously known as Endurance International Group. They're now owned by what's called Newfold, I believe is the name of it, who also owns Bluehost and HostGator. So Web.com, I've just never been impressed with their product. Their capabilities seem to be pretty simple. It's an okay platform. I just don't recommend it. I would easily have you go anywhere else. There's more competitive products out there compared to them. 000 Web Host, I would totally stay away from, even their paid plans. It's a slow web hosting company. It is cheap, I'll give it that, but that's about it. You're paying for cheap web hosting. It's in the name. 000 Web Host. It was a free web hosting company. Now, another one that I mentioned was iPage. I actually used iPage as a kid. It was so cheap. It was like $1 a month or something like that. I could pay for like 3 years for $36, and it was a simple platform. It had a terrible user interface. It was fairly slow when it came to the websites, but it worked. So for someone that was 13 years old, learning about various PHP CMS platforms, you know, it got me what I needed out of it. But all around, when it came to actually building client websites, I never wanted to refer anyone to it just because it was a terrible platform. Which brings me to, where should you actually host? If these suck, what are the best companies to host with? Number one on my list, and keep in mind, this is in no particular order. This is just kind of my preferences. Number one for me is HostGator. I'm not paid by HostGator to say this. I'm not an affiliate of them or anything like that. But they have, in my opinion, the best bang for your buck when it comes to basic web hosting. If you have a simple WordPress site, an informational site, you are going to be just fine hosting it at HostGator. Hosting starts at less than $4 a month on their lowest plan, and all around has really good value. Their customer support is one of the best that I've ever had to experience. It's the same customer support that you're going to get at Bluehost. They're owned by the same parent company. With that being said, it's the same hosting support that you get with web.com. It's all owned by the same company. And their customer support, in my experience, has always been really good. They're always very short wait times, and you're able to get in and out with your request processed extremely quickly. And that goes a long way. And I say this as someone that deals with hosting companies every single day, that customer support makes a big difference in my life. And for most people, it really does. So I would recommend go look at HostGator, especially if you have a simple website. Now, if you need something with a little bit more power, this is where there's two companies I'd recommend you look at. Number one, Bluehost. Bluehost is a bit more expensive than HostGator, for sure. It's owned by the same company. It's using very similar servers, but they have more power behind them. So if you need, an e-commerce website on WooCommerce or something like that, I'd recommend to look at the hosting through Bluehost, just because of the fact that I know you're going to be a little bit faster on the speeds compared to HostGator specifically. HostGator can support WooCommerce sites. I've done it before and it works fine, but you could probably get the site speeds just a little bit quicker on Bluehost while still having great customer support. You will be paying a bit more for it, but that's all right. You're obviously paying for the quality. Now, if you want the absolute creme of the crop website hosting, you need to look at WP Engine. I'm not affiliated with WP Engine at all, but they are one of my favorite companies to deal with. They have the most simple migration tools inside of WordPress platforms. They have some really solid customer support. They just have a really good product. It's really fast, it's really responsive, and it makes sense that it's so expensive. Yeah, so WP Engine, to put it simply, if you go to their monthly plans, their WordPress hosting starts at $24 a month. Actually, that's just for your first month. You're billed at $30 a month, and then the e-commerce solutions is at $36 a month. I can say this, WP Engine is really good when it comes to WordPress websites. They're very well optimized for WordPress. It's by far a great solution if you have a larger website compared to, an informational website. I'd highly recommend checking them out. Now, there's obviously a lot of companies I didn't even bother to touch in this video. There's really hundreds and hundreds of web hosting companies out there, all vying for business. These are just the big ones that come to mind that every single day I'm dealing with for clients and behalf of clients, etc. So, be careful out there. Don't get into something that, if it's too good to be true, I'd recommend running away from it usually, and take this advice. Anyway, my name's Cameron with Driven Media. Let me know what your favorite web hosts are and what your favorite platforms might be. You can do that in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.